I'd like to kind of run through some of the things of why I've actually partnered with Identified and Chime, who I've worked with from its inception. So, for us as running a real estate team, it's always, a lot of work to actually qualify leads, and I'll have to skip trace and go around trying to find little bits and pieces of data and put this, put this together. And so what I found when I started working with Identified is being able to get this data right in your hands, all kinds of data, data points on the children, on wealth events, on numerous different data points, which really makes it valuable to me. So I would say, if I can save time on qualifying leads and being able to get to the right leads or prospects, it's worth its weight in gold. And being able to get that data into Chime as well, which is the important part of it. If you have to actually manually move this data back and forth, it's a real nightmare. So one of the things that I've found over the past few months of working with Identified is how valuable this data is. So pain points that we have, qualifying the leads, dealing with skip tracing, or actually being able to find more data on people that you're trying to qualify, being able to actually bring it into Chime, and then also some of the new things that they've come up with, which was networking networks, where I can take everything from LinkedIn, all my team's LinkedIn, cross that with mine and be able to actually see where these relationships lie and see where I'm, 1 or 2 degrees away from so many of these prospects. So money in motion, I don't know if anyone has, seen what this really can do, but it gives liquidity events. So any event that's, of a major, I would say a major number, sometimes unicorns like they're talking about, but, where all of a sudden you get people who, let's say, were acquired by Facebook or Google or one of the big 5 or 6. We get these prospects. We know who they are. We can actually reach out to them. Let's say, when you do get this liquidity event, the first thing that people want to do is buy a house, and being able to capture them early is really the key here, and getting to them ahead of time, using networking networks as well to actually get that introduction. If I'm not unable to get an introduction that way, I'm at least able to get enough data on them to know how to build rapport, access them, follow up with them, and see if I can actually get in touch with them. If I can't get in touch with them by phone, then nurture them by an email campaign that I'll use on Chime or a smart plan. So this is one of the things that's super valuable, I would say, is being able to get to that data early and access it and get to these clients before they make a decision on which agent they're going to choose. The relationship mapping, I would say, is incredible. And I don't know if Ralph will kind of walk through that, but the relationship mapping allows us to actually put these networks together, put mine with my teams, or let's say other agents that I'm working, that maybe we have a alliance with, and be able to actually build these relationships from that, or introduction. And no different than what you would have in the past, but you can do this on the fly instead of having to look and say, okay, I see that Omar's connected to this person who works at Blue Jean who just got acquired by Verizon, or these are the things that are really important. Prospect Builder is really crucial for me. So in the Silicon Valley, there's 5 or 6 companies that run, pretty much do a lot of the acquisitions, and also where we get most of our clientele, and that's Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, and Netflix. So being able to target these and being able to find them through a prospect builder is unbelievable. So I can go look on a map look for a certain area, and I'm sure Ralph will walk through this a little bit, but I can look in a certain neighborhood. Let's say I have a house in Los Gatos that I'm selling. It's 6 million. I know that people that are going to be the best qualifications for this would be someone who had a liquidity event or just got a promotion. So I can then go through Prospect Builder, find anyone who's a director, just a newly became director at Netflix. And then I can go out and reach out to them. I'll have their data I pull into Chime. I can actually nurture them if I'm unable to connect with them by phone, then email, or even a text once I know maybe how they're connected to one of my friends. So that's really, really useful. And I would say I'm just touching the surface of what you can do with this data. And I think that that's the thing that's unbelievable. There's so many different avenues. You look for triggers, and then use the Prospect Builder to actually build those, find those people, and then actually nurture and grow your database. As for return on investment, I did, the hours looking for this data, it's all there. So now it's more about getting access to that data, targeting the right prospects, which I think is crucial at the right time. It's, again, one of the things that's always a problem, and I think most people will find this out, data is only valuable if you can capture it early. And the earlier you can capture these clients, these leads, the earlier you have a chance of building that rapport and getting them as clients. And again, you can also use this on the other side is, let's say you have a buyer who's looking for a house. They're looking for a house. They have a budget of 5 or 6 million. You can't find it, or let's say even a smaller budget, 2 or 3. I can go look for triggers, events like someone who's going to elder care, and I can go into Prospect Builder and look for people in, let's say, their 80s, maybe only one person in the household. That means one of them has either passed on or moved on. These people who are going to elder care are more than likely going to be selling their house. So we can then reach out to them, and with an off-market offer, we can say, look, I have a client, he's very interested, he hasn't found what he wants. It looks, like, would you be interested in selling this home? And so we've actually been able to do this through this data. And that's, I think, one of the things that's so unbelievable about it. We talked about kind of the relationships of networking networks, which Ralph will go through as well. I would say being able to get the right content on the qualified prospects is really important. Being able to know that you're going to reach out to someone who's 80 differently than some tech director who, is 35 or 40 on their way to a promotion to VP. But again, one of these things is you can work it on both sides, whether it's working with a buyer or a seller, having this data to be able to access it. And actually, what I found is with sellers, I can tell them, look, there's only a certain type of person who wants your house. It's someone who, has, first off, they have to have the capacity to buy the house. There has to be a trigger or a likelihood of a trigger for them to buy it in the first place. So we can look for those triggers. And those triggers can be many things: promotions, liquidity events. It could be just that they came across, they are selling their house, and we know they're selling their house. So it could be a bunch of different reasons that we can then reach out to them. I would say the last thing I wanted to kind of go over is helping on how teams can target, highly qualified buyers. And again, a lot of times this is looking for these events. Other events could be that they've just had a newborn and they have a 4-year-old who's going to be going into kindergarten. These are the kind of trigger events that as realtors we all know, but how do you find that out? With Identified, you can find out, okay, they have a kid in nursery school and they have a newborn. Take that data, be able to reach out to them. You know that they're going to be buying a house soon if they don't own one already. If they own one already, it could be a buy sell opportunity. So I would say these are just some of the things, and I would say some of the things that have been most helpful for me from Identified is just being able to get a better rapport with these clients when you reach out to them. You understand where they went to college, you understand where, you know, how old they are, you understand how many kids they have, what kind of house they own, everything. And these little bits of data all in one place make it invaluable. So I would say, and Ralph is going to walk you through this so you can kind of see how it works, but it really is the next gen of what we're going to see in real estate, being able to capture people earlier, being able to get this data so you can actually better serve your clients.
Eric, yeah. if I may just ask a quick question. I think the buy side and the buyers and coming into wealth, I think that kind of speaks for itself. I think intuitively we can all kind of catch that. On the listing side, going into a listing presentation of a high luxury worth home and being able to say, I know of X amount of potential buyers out there with the capital, with the capacity to afford this kind of home. I have to imagine having that data separates you from the other folks that are doing listing appointments in competition with you. No?
Yes. Thanks, Mike. I mean, it really does. I mean, I can go into a listing interview, walk through and tell them, look, here's the top 5 people that can buy your house right now. And this isn't all just for, you know, a $10 million house. It could be for a $4 or $5 million house. I know who, you know, depending on where it's located, what triggers we're looking for, and the data we have, using Prospect Builder, we can already show them like, look, here's the likelihood of these people to be your buyers. And you can give them little tidbits of it. But yeah, it's been unbelievable. In fact, I can credit 3 listings we have right now in Palo Alto to Identified. And it's really being able to capture the right buyers too. And I'll tell you something that's even more valuable nowadays is that really when you're going, most people just want the right people going through their house. And more than ever with what's going on with COVID, they just don't want a bunch of people rummaging through their house. And it may be, you know, 6 months to a year before open houses happen again. So being able to capture the right ones and then actually vet those. And so, you know, like, look, this is just a looky-loo. I don't want them through my client's house. And not only to capture that listing, but also to be able to vet these buyers is so valuable. So I would agree. And again, I'm just touching the surface of what can be done with Identified. It's unbelievable. It really is.